From April 1917 to November 1918, the United States of America was involved in World War I, which had been started in July 1914. One of the U.S. military men was a U.S. Marine named John Raymond Scheel, who had enlisted. While John R. Scheel was in Europe, specifically France, he took a number of photographs, and many of these subjects were places in Paris and Belleau Wood, the latter of which was the site of a big battle in 1918, and a few of the images showed U.S. Marines who were with him. His daughter, named Joan Marie Scheel, recently showed me the photographs from John R. Scheel that still exist. Some of the photographs were in a photograph album, and some were loose, and most of the photographs were 2.5 inches by 1.5 inches, and all were in black and white. I scanned all the small photographs, though a few were repeats or duplicates, and I ended up with 156 small photographs in digital form. And I scanned 2 photographs that were 4 inches by 2 inches and 7/8, and now all the photographs exist in a digital file. None were dated by John R. Scheel, and most had no identification information. I did research, and I was able to identify some of the places shown in a small group of photographs, and at least one of the places no longer exists. This video presents a look at about 100 photographs of France in the period from 1917 to about 1919, and it presents a few others to help tell a side story about John R. Scheel, which closes out the video. Most of this video is presented in silence. In that format, you can experience seeing the photographs as if you were sitting in a quiet room, maybe late at night. Anyway, I cannot duplicate what actual sounds may have been heard while the photographs were taken, such as the sound of old-time low-tech automobiles of the early 1900s in Paris. Only some of the photographs have caption material. Of course, while the video is running, you can put the playing of the video on hold so that you can study what is shown. The video is made up of 3 main sections: this section, the silence section with the old photographs, and the side story section about John R. Scheel. That covers the presentation of photographs that were taken in France, and now I have the side story about John R. Scheel. And I begin by showing a photograph of John R. Scheel in 1953, when I was born, and I report that I never met John R. Scheel. In April 1918, the U.S. military released a casualty report to the public for the first time, and a number of newspapers around the country published the information, one of which was the Grand Forks Herald. John R. Scheel was listed as wounded in action, though not seriously. I have learned from Joan Marie Scheel that the wound was a shoulder wound. John R. Scheel returned to action in about the middle of 1918, and he was at Belleau Wood for the big battle against the Germans, and he was exposed to mustard gas from the Germans and was taken to a hospital where it seems it was reported that he would not survive long from the gas attack. Yet he did survive and left France, and he attended university, getting an engineering degree from the University of Detroit in 1929, and he would end up in a number of jobs during his career. In October 1929, for instance, at age 30, he was an inspector for the Water Board, or the Water Department of the Detroit area, and he was once again exposed to deadly gas. The event was at the site of a well related to the Springwells Station at 8300 West Warren, where members of a company called W.W I Wood Construction Company were doing work. Officially, the location for the station was Dearborn, Michigan, which is a western suburb of Detroit, and the station would evolve into an important water treatment plant for the Detroit area in the near future. 2 men succumbed to deadly gas in the 25-foot deep hole, and John R. Scheel took it upon himself to attempt a rescue. But his attempt was failed by deadly gas, and he had to be pulled out of the hole while unconscious. In the end, at least 2 men died in the incident, but John R. Scheel managed to recover from deadly gas once again. The gas was not gas from a natural gas line, but it was like gas that can sometimes be called swamp gas, which comes from the ground. Oh, by the way, about 10 years after World War I had ended, John R. Scheel married Marie Hattendorf, and it was an event in which they eloped. John and Marie Scheel ended up with a family with 2 daughters, Roberta, who was the eldest daughter, and Joan Marie, and here's a photograph of the family in 1934. This photograph shows John R. Scheel in 1951, and he is in his office at the last company at which he worked. He had started out at the company as a heating supervisor. In March 1964, John R. Scheel retired, and he received a gold watch, and the retirement day was a celebration for his having worked for 23 years at the Central Indiana Gas Company.